We're going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order. Clerk will read the roll.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
All members are present.
Thank you so much. At this time, we will be led in prayer by Sarah Kemp. Immediately following our prayer, we're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask if Councilwoman Samples will do that for us. Mrs. Kemp?
Lord God, I just lift up our city council right now and I pray that you just give them wisdom in all that they do. Father God, I pray that you continue to expand their hearts to love our city well and to lead us well in all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance
To the
flag
flag
of the United States
of
of America and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic
for which
which
it
stands
one nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. The minutes from our previously held meeting have been provided to all council members. Are there any corrections or additions? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Baylor?
So moved.
A second by Councilman Swirsky.
Yes.
Roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
Minutes past 13-0.
Before you, you have the consent agenda. Motion to approve, Councilman Fusco.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Can we get a second by Councilman McKittrick?
Second.
Roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
Passes 13-0.
We do have two public hearings scheduled for this evening. Clerk will read in item number 1.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearings will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, November 9th, 2020, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a beauty salon at 75 East Talmadge Avenue.
Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Apex Studios LLC is holder of option to lease the site for use as a beauty salon. The petitioner will have one other full-time employee and anticipates that they will take in between 5 to 10 customers a day. Business will be conducted by appointment only with no walk-in clients. There is parking behind the structure that includes 10 hard surface parking spaces with driveway access from Blaine Avenue. The property also has fully screened fence between it and the residents to the north. The use of this conditionally approved real estate office as the beauty salon should not have a negative impact upon the surrounding neighborhood. Property is suitably developed for the salon use. The location is ideal along this business corridor, and the Office of Integrated Development, Planning Staff, and Planning Commission recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Antonucci. I do see that the petitioner, Christina Collins, is online with us this evening. Mrs. Collins, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Before you bring forth your remarks, I'm just going to ask that you be sworn in by a member of our law department.
Collins, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to give is the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Collins, you can proceed.
Okay, hello. I represent Apex Studios, LLC. I also have my partner here, Braisha Raymer, who is the other full-time employee. Together, we plan to come to the area to have a beauty salon that services hair, nails, and things along those lines. As Mike Antonucci already stated, we have adequate parking and the structure is developed for what we need it to be. We're just waiting on approval. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Collins. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. I'd like to pull the committee for a favorable report with suspension of the rules.
Are there any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you. Samples?
Aye.
Swirsky?
Aye.
Kamer?
Aye.
And Baylor?
Aye.
Yes, thank you. The report of the committee is favorable, and we're asking for a suspension of the rules.
The rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. This is, I know the ward council representative is in favor of this. This is an ideal locationally. It's suitable for the proposed use, and we recommend approval this evening based on the testimony this afternoon, Planning Department, and the Planning Commission's recommendation as well.
Thank you so much. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Homobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, November 9th, 2020, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a child daycare business center at 927 North Portage Path, and this was withdrawn by the petitioner. Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, November 9th, 2020, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a Type A daycare home on property at 691 Aberdeen Street.
Mr. Antonucci?
Thank you, Madam President, members of council. Alfred Bell is requesting permission to establish a Type A child daycare business center at this location. The proposed daycare business center, known as Kiddo Care LLC, will be located on the first and second floors of the three-story, 1,800 square foot colonial house. The facility would provide services and activity for up to 12 children, ranging from 6 weeks to 12 years of age. The daycare would be operational from Monday through Friday between the hours of 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The daycare will accommodate overnight stays as needed. Petitioner has 2 additional employees to help with the business. The property contains an enclosed rear yard for an outdoor play area. Petitioner has stated that he has operated a Type B for 6 kids or less daycare from this location since 2016. Due to the flexible and varied scheduling needs of children, the proposed Type A daycare business center should not significantly raise the level of activity on this property nor have a detrimental effect on nearby homes. Providing quality daycare services is beneficial to the entire city, and as such, the Office of Integrated Development, Planning Staff, and Planning Commission recommend approval subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We actually do not have anyone registered to speak as it relates to 691 Aberdeen this evening. Councilman Fusco, what's your pleasure?
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. Going to recommend approval with suspension of the rules. I'd like to pull the committee for a favorable report.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Thank you. Baylor,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Swirsky,
Aye.
and Samples.
Aye.
The rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. Again, the report is favorable. I know the ward council representative is in favor of this as well. The Samples, the recommendation of the department is favorable in the commission. There's also 5 conditions that the petitioner, we understand, has agreed to meet. So with that, we're going to recommend moving forward with this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0.
We'll now move into our old business. Councilman Fusco, what is your pleasure? with the
Thank you.
rest
I'd like
of
to
the
take
agenda?
Thank you. I'd like to take time on 4 through and including 7. File I-8 and 9, those are petitions, and 10. Those are petitions that's been voted upon. The request of the committee is for time on item number 11 and to file item number 12. Again, that's a petition that's been taken care of. Time on 13, 14, and 15. The request of the committee is to file 16 and 17. That's, again, petitions that's been voted upon. 18, 19, time on those. File item number 20. And then time on the balance of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Time will be granted. Budget and Finance, Councilman Freeman.
The committee has requested to continue to take time.
Okay, time will be granted. We'll now move into our new legislation.
Item number 1, offered by Freeman. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance or his designee to pay $15,000 for an operating subsidy to Cascade Locks Park Association in order to support the maintenance of the Cascade Locks, including the Mustel Store Museum and Schumacher Mill site, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman.
Committee's report is favorable. We'll be asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
This is a piece of legislation that has come before us multiple times annually, and this is simply a $15,000 subsidy to the Cascade Locks Park Association to support Mustel Store and the Schumacher Mill site. With that, we ask for its passage.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Gamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Item number 2, offered by Freeman. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance or his designee to enter into an agreement with the Akron Summit Convention and Visitors Bureau Incorporated to pay an operating subsidy for the Convention Bureau in order to support the services and offerings of the Convention Bureau to the residents and visitors of the greater Akron area, authorizing payment therefore and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman.
Committee's report is favorable. We're asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules are suspended.
This is a subsidy, and the funding source for this is the 2020 bed tax. And with that, we ask for its passage.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Item number 3, offered by Freeman. Ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent or their designee to enter into a contract or contracts with ASAP companies for the relocation of cubicles and furniture for the tax division and utility business office relocation project and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman,
Committee's report is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, this is, we're working with ASAP, a local company here in Akron, and these monies will go towards relocating cubicles and furniture in the tax division's move. And with that, we ask for its passage.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Items 4, 5, and 6 for the public hearings. Item number 7, offered by Samples. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into an agreement or agreements and/or legislation with the Ohio Director of Transportation for certain improvements on State Route 93 and State Route 162 and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Samples.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee is asking for this to go on consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 8, offered by Samples. Ordinance approving the 2021 to 2036 Summit Akron Solid Waste Management Authority reworks solid waste plan and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Samples.
Thank you, Madam President. We ask for time.
Time will be granted.
Item number 9, offered by Swirsky. Ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to apply for and if granted, enter an agreement or agreements with the water supply revolving loan account for a water supply capital improvement project and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Swirsky.
Consent agenda, please.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 10, offered by Kamer. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Safety or his designee to apply for and if awarded, accept and expend the fiscal year 2020 Justice Assistance Grant administered by the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kamer.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee's report is favorable and we're asking for suspension of the rules, please.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Thank you, Madam President. This is basically annual funding request, basically to take care of some of the hot spots throughout the city of Akron in regards to crime, drugs, speeding, and it includes gun violence.
Thank you so much. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Item number 11, offered by Kamer. Ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent without the formality of publicly advertising for bids to enter into a contract or contracts with Siemens Industry Incorporated for the installation of a door security system at the Akron Municipal Court in the Stubbs Justice Center and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kamer.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee's report is to refer this item for next week's agenda, please.
Okay, thank you so much. This item will be referred. That concludes our new business for tonight. We will now go to the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. Clerk will read in public comments received for this evening.
This is from Karen Gray. I oppose the sale of the property between Tice Road and Hardy Road to private developers. Residential development around the national park has nearly doubled over the past 50 years, according to a recent article in the Akron Beacon Journal, endangering the future health of the Cuyahoga River and impacting the overall environment as well as the well-being and recreation of local residents. I am concerned about increased traffic, runoff, flooding, and erosion, among others. Precipitation has gone up an inch a decade in this region, meaning more stormwater issues. Much of the lower part of the Cuyahoga River continues to be in poor or fragile condition. The planned development area does not currently have water or sewer infrastructure, which would have unknown effects on existing infrastructure when connected. Increased traffic will be detrimental to the area. There would be a negative effect on wildlife. Currently, there are a few cerulean warblers known to be nesting in the Cuyahoga Valley. This federally protected bird, whose population has plummeted 70% over the last 40 years, favors large, unbroken areas of forest to breed. The more we chip away at the valley, the less likely the ceruleans will be able to successfully nest here. I am also against tax abatements for upscale residential developments. Our schools, parks, and public infrastructure are critically short of funding that should not be deferred to give developers more profits. Also, we need more quality low-income housing, not upscale development. I support the sale of this land to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, along with the development of a master plan for the protection of the entire Cuyahoga Valley region. We must protect the Cuyahoga Valley for future generations to enjoy, for wildlife to thrive, and to provide recreation and respite from the pressures of daily life for the residents of the Akron Cuyahoga Falls area. Please undertake a master development plan in cooperation with other local municipalities as soon as possible. More development plans are surely on the way and must be carefully considered. This is from Katrina Dunn. Hello, I am deeply concerned about Akron's plans to develop its Merriman Valley green space. I am an Akron Public Schools teacher who moved to Akron's North Hill neighborhood from Wayne County to be near the community I serve. Akron's green spaces have been the thing we've enjoyed most about our move. Before, even though we lived in the midst of farm country, there were relatively few outdoor spaces to enjoy because it was all privately owned. Your parks are a major plus of the city. I would encourage you to invest in the wonderful people and neighborhoods you already have. A long-sighted view makes it evident we need green space in our city for future generations. This is from Lisa Putnam. I live next to this lot and have been taking care of this lot since 2007 along with another neighbor. The owner has back taxes in excess of $19,000 and no longer lives in Akron. The city has assessed this property at $14,000, an amount I feel is not realistic as it cannot be built on as is. What needs to be done to obtain possession? This is from Caitlin Magnus. To whom it may concern, hello, my name is Caitlin Magnus. I am a resident of Akron bordering on Cuyahoga Falls. I'm writing to ask you to please rethink selling off the land located between Tice and Hardy Road. I believe it is more important to keep our area's land intact and untouched by big housing communities than selling for a profit. Cuyahoga Falls is based on nature. It is what allures people to the area. We are asking for you to keep that in mind. Thank you for your time. There's not a name on this one. Hello, Cuyahoga Valley and Akron County officials. I'm writing to ask of you to help preserve the unsold land between Tice Road and Hardy Road and to not sell the land for new homes. I have been a resident of Cuyahoga Falls and Akron my whole life. I went to school in Akron and attended the University of Akron and studied the national parks of the area. This land would be used best as more national park for preservation and conservation. Cuyahoga Falls is known for our national parks, and it would benefit the community more if it was kept as it is. Please consider this and many of our community's concerns. This is from Aaron Selzer. To whom it may concern, I oppose the sale of the 43 acres of woodland between Tice and Hardy Road for private redevelopment. It is important to keep expansive green spaces in the community for air quality, scenic views, and quality of life. Instead of clearing acres of forest, we should instead focus on repairing the residential areas that already exist, both structurally and crime-wise. Many homes in the Akron area sit empty. These homes could be repaired, revitalizing many neighborhoods to attract home buyers. I understand that Akron's goal is to increase its population, but using untouched land that would be the wrong way to go about it. The selling and clearing of these trees would be a one-time act to make some money, but it would forever kill a natural green space that could be repurposed for recreational uses in the future, and in and of itself can be a way to attract and retain locals. I implore you not to sell this land for private development and to explore other ways to increase the population of the city and investigating what attracts people to booming cities as a template. As someone who works in Akron and moved to Summit County from a different part of the state, I fell in love with the charm of Akron, as well as the plenitude of forest and waterways. Please don't remove some of that for the sake of short-sightedness. Thank you for your consideration. This comment is from Madeline Gano and Susan Casanova. I am writing to express my strong opposition to the sale of 43 acres between Tice and Hardy Roads to developers. On August 3rd, 2020, the City of Akron issued a call for proposals from developers of upscale single-family homes, setting a discounted purchase price for the land and offering a 15-year residential tax abatement to future residents. This decision is concerning for a number of reasons. This property tax abatement takes away the financial support sorely needed for Akron schools and for some of Akron's best features, including our comprehensive library system, award-winning Akron Zoo, and services for citizens with disabilities. The process does not include any citizen input. It ignores the fact that Akron and Cuyahoga Falls have committed to a joint master planning process for the Merriman Valley slated to start in January of 2021. The sale should be put on hold until this committee is formed and citizens are included to provide input. The Cuyahoga Valley National Park is one of Akron's greatest assets. Crane's Cleveland Business reported that visitors spent $36.8 million in communities surrounding the park. The Tice property has the potential to enhance the recreation and tourism-based backbone of the Merriman Valley by increasing the green space footprint. Sherilyn Burns, the president of the Greater Akron Audubon Society, has noted the potential for long-term environmental damage to the Cuyahoga Valley and Cuyahoga River if this wooded land is cleared and developed. It has been suggested by the Akron City Council and the Office of Planning and Development that developing this land will offer future payoffs and lure people in from the suburbs. Why not capitalize on what lures the most suburbanites into our area already? The amazing array of natural resources and the prestige of the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. As a local resident, I am urging you to think creatively, sustainably, and thoughtfully about how this land should be used. Once it is mowed down and houses are built, we will never have the opportunity to go back. Please reject the proposals submitted by housing developers for the Tice Road acreage and accept the offer of the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for its preservation and conservation. This is from Kathy Weber. I strongly oppose the sale of this property between Tice Road and Hardy Road to private developers, and I fully support the sale of this land to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, along with the development of a master plan for the protection and conservation of the southern end of the Cuyahoga Valley. This is from Sam Rutledge. My name is Sam Rutledge, and I am a teacher at North Canton High School. I am in my second year of teaching and teach a variety of social studies courses, AP Psychology, World History, and U.S. History. I am writing to you as a resident of Stowe who vehemently opposes the sale of the 43 acres of land behind CVNP. I can personally attest to the amount of coyotes that live in these wooded areas, as I hear them howling every single night. The land is extraordinarily beautiful and is an absolute wonderful part of the surrounding area. The last thing in the entire world we need is more Ryan homes. Good Lord in heaven, please consider not selling this land for more of the same looking homes that will destroy habitats and take away from the magic of the surrounding CVNP area. I implore you to think about selling this land and creating yet another block of suburban homes. This makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. I hope this message is heard. This is from Veronica Sanders. Dear Mayor Horrigan, I voted for you. So can you find it in your heart to support the development of a master plan between Akron and Cuyahoga Falls for the Merriman Valley, the gateway to our most precious resource, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park? While Ohio is known for its parks, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park is the only national park in Northeast Ohio. If you want land development for upscale housing, look around for all the empty lots. As a former contractor for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, I am certain that you, the Akron City Council, and Mayor Walters can devise an alternate plan. If you ever took in the beauty and uniqueness of Cuyahoga Valley National Park, you would vehemently oppose the sale of the 43 acres of woodlands above the park. Visitors come from the country to visit the park, so why ruin it? The park is an oasis in itself. Please reserve judgment before making such a decision that cannot be reversed. Furthermore, Cuyahoga Valley National Park and the land around it came about because former politicians like the late Mayor Carl Stokes came together to save the area from land developers. Preserve the valley. This is from Hallie Bowie. I am writing to express my strong opposition to the sale of 43 acres between Tyson Hardy Roads to developers. As a residential architect, I recognize the value of new home construction to meet the needs of our current and future residents and its benefits to our economy. However, the choice of where to build these new homes is an important one that needs to be made with due consideration of a number of factors. I am deeply concerned that there has not been sufficient consideration of those factors in the proposal to sell this property for residential development. The Vibrant NEO report provides a great deal of guidance on how our communities can best leverage the assets of our region in the coming decades. It makes it clear that the vast majority of new housing should be located in areas which already have existing infrastructure, such as sewer service. This report points out that the unhealthy vacancy rates in our cities are the result of building more homes in undeveloped areas, leading to abandonment of existing areas and increases in government spending. I've included a few excerpts from the Vibrant Northeast Ohio report below for your convenience and have attached the vision portion of the report from which these excerpts were taken. The conclusions of this report are echoed by Charles Morone in his book, Strong Towns. He points out that the current financial challenges of our older cities have been made considerably worse by their fixation on developments which create liabilities of infrastructure to maintain that are greater than their net revenue production abilities. There's also the fact that this property is currently a greenfield with trees which are helping to absorb CO2. If we are to minimize the destructive impacts of climate change on human lives and society, the next decade is critical. We need to be planting more trees, not cutting trees down in an area where they are already established and providing habitat for wildlife. The fact that this green space also benefits our air quality with health benefits to our residents is an additional consideration. Please reject the proposals submitted by housing developers for the Tice Road acreage and accept the offer of the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for its preservation and conservation. From the Vibrant Northeast Ohio 2040 final report, targets at least 91% of new jobs and 81% of new housing development should be located within the urbanized and urbanizing area. The urbanized and urbanizing area is not a policy boundary, but rather a measuring device that delines the edge of existing infrastructure. The urbanized and urbanizing area excludes areas within the census urbanized area that do not currently have sewer service and are not slated to receive it according to current plans. Currently, nearly 90% of the jobs and more than 80% of the homes in the region are within the urbanized and urbanizing area. This area is large enough to accommodate all projected future growth out to 2040. Housing vacancy rate currently 10.7% of Northeast Ohio's housing stock is vacant. A healthy range for Northeast Ohio would be 5 to 7%. 6, high residential vacancy negatively impacts local budgets by and this does not have a name. I'm sorry, it does. Dana and Carol Darrow.
Good evening, City of Akron Council members. It's Carol Coleman Crane with Team Towing and Service at 645 Carroll Street in Akron, just in the area of Akron View in Ward 5. I'm just calling just to touch base with all of you again and to encourage all of you to reach out to me if you would like to visit my place of business. I think a couple of the members there have expressed an interest in doing so. Thought we could come up with a date and time that works for everybody. If any of you would like to come out and just see my my business, meet our dispatch service system, and see some of our trucks, some of our guys. I would ask you all to consider me for inclusion in Ward 5 for towing for the APD. I am in Ward 5, right down on Carroll Street, and been trying to get included for about 5 years. So it's not distributed very fairly. The Ward 5 is being serviced by Great Towing, which is also servicing another area, and he has to travel to my area, and I have all the proper equipment as well as approval since 2016. So I'm asking for a fair and equitable distribution of the districts and encouraging you all to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, or if you do not feel in favor of including me, please let me know why so I can work on that area. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Greetings today. I'm Bill Nesbitt, Akron resident at 330-379-2235-1155 Diagonal Road, Akron, Ohio, of course. And again, I request that no changes on the locations of the Akron Bureau of Public Utilities is made, particularly in respect of what I believe are the increased hospitalizations in Summit County, along with Ohio. Strong hospitalizations increase, I believe, are the indications, and any type of additional stress situations which could happen from travel, particularly from our Syracuse, as I mentioned, and maybe of limited financial means and a particular responsibility, shall we call it, these added stress with the coronavirus situation. Health detriment is very possible, if not probable. Asking that until our conditions are improved, we hold off on moving that location. As I've written to parties, we have from an hour trip of residents in the general city vicinity of the Bureau, such as the City Hospital area, Akron University, and Chinawood. They're, number one, they have the possibilities of walking, probably. But the other situation is with the city bus, an hour round trip ends up being possibly, if not probably, an evening of travel. And particularly those with small children, with dealing with the school situation as relates to coronavirus and all the ramifications with the additional travel time. We have the stress, we have the health possible detriment. Again, this could be discussed with the related officials such as the superintendent of the Akron Public Schools, Communications Director Mark Williamson, your Director of Community Relations of the Akron Public Schools, of council people, and then of course our health people, specifically the Summit County Health Director, the General Hospital people, and our array of our hospital people. And we can see how this additional travel and time consumption and added considerations could be, again, that detriment, a possibility to our people at this time. Thank you for your consideration, and I know you're acting in the interest of Akron, and also as far as the finances, I asked you to see how an investment would be helpful for Akron area people. All have to.
That concludes our public comments for this evening. We want to thank all that took the time to participate in sending their comments before council. At this time, we're going to move into our committee assignments, rules. Councilman Freeman.
245.
Public Safety, Councilman Kamer.
215.
Public Budget and Finance, Councilman Freeman.
3 p.m.
Parks and Rec, Councilman Neal.
145.
Planning and Economic Development, Councilman Fusco.
1.
Housing and Neighborhood Assistance, Councilman Fusco.
Subject to call.
Public Service, Councilwoman Samples.
2 p.m.
Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Amobian.
2:30.
Public Utilities and Green Committee, Councilman Swirsky.
Sorry. 245.
Thank you. And just also a note to all council members that Reimagine Public Safety Committee will also meet on next Monday at 12:30. Is there anything else coming before council at this time?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion on the floor. I
Madam
do
Chair.
see Councilman Swirsky's hand. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
I was just going to second it.
You want to second it? Okay. And I
Madam
think
Chair.
I have I see Shamus's hand as well, Councilman Malik.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to be brief, but given how many comments there were again for the Merriman Valley property, I just wanted to mention that, we're continuing to meet with folks and talk about it this weekend. A lot of the folks who sent in comments were down along the road there on Merriman Road and had signs and that kind of thing, raising awareness. So Councilman Swirsky and I were down there talking with them and, discussing some of the issues. Also talked with the superintendent and treasurer of the Woodridge School District, since the property there and, a fair bit of property in both Ward 1 and Ward 8 are in the Woodridge School District. So they're somewhat impacted by this. But yeah, it's good. We'll continue to update all of you on this as we move forward.
Thank you so much. And Councilman Neal, I see your hand.
Thank you. I have problems finding that little hand down on the thing. That's why, but thank you. I know, I know as council, we're going to acknowledge Judge Williams at a later date, but I didn't want this evening, forgot even having a moment of silence for the Williams family, just what Judge Williams has meant, one who served on council, served this city so well, and not just him, but his family. Didn't want this evening to go by without acknowledging Judge Williams. Also, many of us have been reading the papers. I do want us, it's hard to believe that we've got basically 5 weeks left of council, and then we go into recess until 2021. I'm hopeful that before this year ends, we could take some time as council to convene with one another, to set some time to do our own racial equity training. And I'd like for us to coordinate that with the administration, with the three branches, let me just say the three branches of government. I think we all have to be on the same playing field. There was an article last week in the paper that kind of concerned me, not trying to get into the judicial business, but it concerned me looking at the makeup of common pleas and Akron Municipal Court about how equity could surely be exercised there in the way judges are appointed to cases. So I think it's important that we as a city go through some type of training that is normalized between the three branches of government so that we know what we're talking about when we talk about race equity. And I say that because if you read today's paper, it spoke to a piece of legislation that we passed regarding, racism, a public health crisis. And this touches all branches of government. And trust me, when we deal with this issue, it covers the other issues as far as health equities for our entire city, income disparity for our entire city. So again, with only 5 weeks left, I'm hoping that we can spend some time for us, because I know we had good intentions at the beginning of the year. We talked about looking at our goals and our objectives, council's budget. We'll be able to do all of that if we set some time for us to meet and to plan, because 2021, these problems aren't going to go away. They're going to be in front of us, and we need to be prepared. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Councilman Neal. Councilwoman Samples.
Thank you, Madam President. I too want to recognize Judge James R. Williams Sr. That family is very near and dear to me, and Judge Williams has been a great mentor of mine over the years, and I'm just so honored to be able to sit in the seat on the council that is an historic Williams seat, and that means a lot to me. I'm hoping that this council, when they do make those arrangements, that we send something over to that family and a proclamation tribute from all of council, because I think it's the least we can do on our part. And lastly, just a reminder, not that anyone needs a reminder, that Veterans Day is on Wednesday. I know we're living in a pandemic right now, but there are a few events going on around us. And I know some of us have veterans in our families, making sure we reach out to those veterans and making sure that they know that they are appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Samples. Councilwoman Amobian?
All I want to do is just ask, Madam President, if we would take a moment of silence before we end tonight, just to acknowledge Judge Williams.
Absolutely. Councilman Swirsky?
I agree with Ms. Mobium. That'd be a great idea. And I just want to thank the letter writers. Those were really well written. They were very respectful, and it was good to hear from so many Akron residents. As I understand, a lot of the letters were generated from cars pulling up to seeing the people with signs on Riverview Road. And there was good follow through in terms of letters coming to City Council. So people, it's our job to listen. Councilman Malik and I were down there listening, and I know at the end of a 12-hour day for City Council people to hear a lot of letters again, but it is a really, really important issue. It's a really valuable resource that we need to protect.
Thank you so much, Councilman Swirsky. At this time, we're just going to ask for a moment of silence for Judge James R. Williams, who was a civic leader in our city, who opened doors for others, the very first African-American common pleas judge in the county here. So a moment of silence. Council, thank you so much. I know we do have a motion on the floor and a second for an adjournment. If there are no objections, meeting is adjourned.
This concludes the live broadcast of Akron City Council. Margot Somerville, President of Council, presiding.